I'm very pleased to be part of the HomeoSummit this year. I'm Lisa Berman, based in Ojai, California, a naturopath for over 40 years and specialized in homeopathy and Bach flower therapy. But today I don't want to talk about any healing modalities. I want to talk about another powerful element in the healing process. And my topic today is disease along our life's journey and what contributes through our personality to disease. So let's just jump into it. So I'm not sure if you know that by the age of 35, a huge 95% of who we are is made up of our habits, beliefs, thought patterns, and reactions. So that means we pretty much live on automatic, so an autopilot, you could say. So this contributes in a way through our weakness in the bodies that might accumulate to disease. So having counseling as part of my healing practice shifted to a very self-empowered healing path, because in the moment where a client is coming with some physical, emotional, or mental symptoms, they're very often the desire to fix it as soon as possible, and that's clearly understandable. But we hardly ever shift if there is a deeper meaning behind it. So this counseling I'm doing, it's not just body, mind, and emotional inquiry and interview. It includes also our soul, our true self. You might now ask, what does it mean talking about the soul? And you could say, we all have a soul. We might call it differently. So it's our true self, spiritual self, higher self. Some call it essence or life force, consciousness, or even intuition. So when I talk about soul, I refer to it as eternal, timeless, non-material essence within each of us. So we might not be aware of it, but our soul is always connected with us and is communicating through our body with us. So during my career, I studied psychosomatic medicine. That was actually the beginning of looking deeper in the part of counseling. Then in my early beginning, I studied Bach flower essences, and Dr. Bach, the founder of the modality, was, so to say, the father of modern psychoimmunology and psychosomatic medicine. So he was finding out that there is a connection between our physical symptoms, mental symptoms, and our emotions. So we are usually in our daily life don't listen so much to our true self or soul, because there is this constant chatter of our mind that prevents us of being aware of it. So first, what I would like to point out here is for you to question what is for you the distinction between your soul and your personality. And I'd like to say the personality of who you are made of all your beliefs, identities, thought patterns, and most people believe that's who they are. So as a baby, when we come here into this world, we are still very pure and aligned with our soul. We naturally express our body's need and react to them. For example, if we are cold, we are hungry, or we need mother's care or touch, we cry. We don't negotiate with our body and say, oh, you have to wait because there is something important to do. So we are directly responding to the body's emotional and mental needs, and the soul is expressing it through our body. So you could say our body is always honest and direct. So, and it translates the soul's messages that otherwise would be not recognized. So I'd like you to even take a moment with me and reflect, like, who are you in your personality? All things that make you out. I go back when we're a baby, we have just an awareness. We are not aware that I am Lisa Berman, for example, or I'm a girl. So we more and more take on identity. So at one point, first I am just I am. And then I realize, oh, I am Lisa. I'm a girl. And so on. So more and more we are taking on where we think that's who we are. So maybe write for yourself a moment or give it a thought. What makes you out? So this is your body, you might say, your senses, your name, your gender, nationality, relationships, profession, all. What do you think it's who? It's who you are. Sorry. And then go further and ask yourself, when you take all that away, what is left? Who are you then? The pure I am. And you might just tune into that feeling. What does it feel like? Just this pure beingness when you let go of the identities. Yeah, so you get a sense that you can clearly distinguish between your thinking mind and what your mind took on as belief and identity, and what is your pure essence. So this essence, when we are sick, going back to my topic, disease along our life's journey. So when we have an acute cold or whatever the physical ailment is, we are driven by our personality to have an immediate relief. We rush to a doctor and we wonder if there's a perfect treatment and to go back as soon as possible to our daily lives, because we live in such a fast-paced Western lifestyle and we are more focused on a doing than our being. So here I'd like to point out that our body, in a way, knows how to heal itself. It always strives for a realignment of the body, mind, spirit entity. But as life goes on, especially in young age, there are many parts are fragmented. We lost in childhood fragments because we wanted to be loved, we wanted to be cared for, and we neglected those parts so that these parts got fragmented. But our true self wants to always restore this wholeness by integrating these fragmented parts of ourselves. So this is what I first wanted to point out, to understand the process in our body, and that I could say that disease has always a purpose. Our ailments are telling us that something is broken that wants to come back to wholeness. So when we, in our Western lifestyle, just look for a diagnosis, is it diabetes, migraine, we give it a name, we get maybe a prescription. And if you go to a naturopath and a holistic healer, you have beautiful modalities that have no side effects and are great support. And there might be still the message not listened to. Why does it disturb in the first place? And there might be even an aggravation that it results in chronic symptoms. We live in a Western world with all the amazing medical support, but we have never had so many chronic diseases. So using inquiry and bringing a greater awareness to the situations awakens, from my perspective, another depth of healing. So, and it shifts also the fear and the worry that most people have when the body is not functioning 100% in a self-empowered healing process. So, already if you're a practitioner or you're a client, that in holistic medicine, you always have a very detailed interview. You go through a questioning regarding all physical symptoms, emotional, mental symptoms, what had happened, what events preceded the onset, when did they first appear, what were the circumstances, you go back to childhood, what kind of traumas might have been there, and then also inquiring what are the feelings, are there fears about it, anger, grief, abandonment, are there needs that are not met? So you really, as a holistic practitioner, you want to understand the whole person. So this way, again, deep listening, compassionate listening is such a powerful tool that even give the space that something can be listened to that is sitting in our unconsciousness. So because when it's heard and understood, we strengthen the body's own healing forces, and that supports aligning naturally. So here comes a client to my mind that just 2 weeks ago approached me. That was, just to give you an idea. So she is a 40 years female woman. She is a lawyer. And she called first and said, so I think I have a cold, and clearly it was a viral infection. But the brief story was, she said, I first had a plugged right ear, and I thought, it's just a plugged ear, I have to go to a specialist. But then one day later, she said, I suddenly had an intense diarrhea, I had to vomit, I had chills, fever, I was extremely weakly, she said. And then even one day later, she had completely lost her voice. So in this inquiry, it's like what had led up to that. So she shared that she's a lawyer, has a job in a non-profit organization, very busy. But some month ago, she was approached by another non-profit organization to voluntarily help with fundraising. There were legal challenges, and she also was told there are huge conflicts in the organization. And she had a big heart and said, you sure, she helps, she will do it even on weekends. But then after many months, she realized she completely had put off her private needs, and for months didn't take care for her physical needs. She was really burdened by the whole pressure that would put on her. So from a psychosomatic aspect, I had already, it's not that I have the answers, but I question. So her right ear was first plugged. So what couldn't she listen to? What didn't she listen to? Diarrhea, the question, what couldn't she stomach, assimilate, absorb, digest? And it's just questions I have myself and communicate them. Yeah, then the chills. Yeah, so when fever is suppressed energy, suppressed upset, anger. So what is she angry about? Then the weakness, extreme weakness she shared, was drained her energy. Coughing, she had coughing. The lungs represent communication, also grief, but communication. It's a partner organ, like the kidneys, they're partner organs. So in view of relationship, there's something going on. So here, struggle in communication. And then finally, she lost her voice. So what didn't she communicate that she lost completely her voice? So it already gives you many ideas on what might have going on. So, and then in this inquiry with her, she really got very emotionally, very vulnerable, and she could release her true feelings, that she cried that, yeah, I'm completely overwhelmed. And I need to communicate that I won't suppress my own needs anymore. I have to set priority. The stressful situation, my system can't hold that anymore. So admitting or through sharing and allowing her vulnerability coming up, she could see herself and listen to herself what she had suppressed for many weeks or even months. So the combination of this counseling, some homeopathic remedies helped her to recover very quickly. But she clearly set priorities and communicated it to the nonprofit organization she was voluntarily working for. So this is pretty much my introduction. And now I would like to do a screen share to give you some more insights. Okay, so disease along our life's journey. As I mentioned, I studied with Dr. Bach for really close to 40 years. I worked with Bach flower essences because Dr. Bach, as a bacteriologist and a homeopath, he was really the first one who could really prove the connection at his time about dark bacteria connected to emotions. So his whole system about the Bach flower essences were built on that every organ, every emotion is in connection. So this beautiful quote, I thought, represents what his essence of the modality is. Health depends on being in harmony with our soul. There is no true healing unless there is a change in outlook, peace of mind, and inner happiness. So disease is the effort to regain balance and health, to become whole as a body, mind, spirit entity. And here I really split the word disease, like there's a dis-ease when we are out of harmony. So before symptoms appear in the body, it makes its presence known in our emotional state. So our emotions hold the key to our well-being. They reveal whether you live authentically and if your life is aligned with your true purpose. So here in this slide, you see health is our true nature. All cells in the body are working in collaboration with other cells and in perfect harmony. Together they serve the healthy function of an organ and the whole organism. So when you think about that the body, every organ knows exactly what to do. You don't have to tell the liver what to do or the heart what to do. There is an intelligence in each organ, and every cell is connected with the organ, and every organ is connected to the whole organism. So when, as I just said, the emotions hold the key. So like, in a way, it's a lifelong process of inquiry with yourself if you're happy, joyful, live your passion, or not. And sometimes it needs an adjustment, or many times it needs adjustments because life is always changing. So this, in a way, daily mindfulness, how I'm doing, how do I feel, is the best preventative care you can do. Because from an emotional, mental imbalance, like if you're constantly sad, depressive, you like countryside living, but you live in a big city, you have a job that you don't appreciate, and you're maybe even in an unhappy relationship, your own unconsciousness or soul invites you, change something. Nobody will do it for you. So this is the self-empowering process to have the courage to change something. Because my experience is really, if you in a long-term run can't cheat your body, You can't argue with your body. Your body might produce first mild and acute symptoms, like even a cold. It's nothing bad about a cold, but maybe you need a little rest. You need a little more free time for yourself to inquire and have a greater rest. If you just go to a doctor, you get an antibiotic to go back to your busy life because maybe in a company is afraid you might lose your job. You might challenge your body to produce even a chronic disease, or the worst would be a life-threatening disease. But a life-threatening disease never shows up from one day to the next. It might appear that way, but in the unseen field, it is a process that was building up to the present state. So here I like to invite you again to just take a moment and inquire for yourself. If you want, maybe even close your eyes for a moment and tune into your body, just to create some body awareness. Maybe it's very new, maybe you're used to do a kind of mindfulness practice, but right now just tune into your body and see if some area draws your attention. Just make a body scan from the top of your head, slowly going down. Really from the top of your head to the fingertips. And then slowly down to the legs and feet. And just tune, is there an area that calls attention? And just notice what you notice. Is there a sensation? Is there tightness? Is there some stress or even pain? Differences in temperature? Or other symptoms? Maybe some feelings that come up. And then just reflect on the bigger picture of your life. Do these symptoms stop you from doing or forcing you to do something? Now you might do this practice for you later in a slower pace. This is just a little guideline. And then reflect, maybe write in a diary, even reflect on changes you are willing to make. Are there action steps you want to do that would support you in your present life situation? And you might even ask yourself, is there a positive outcome or potential that might come out of changing your life situation? So really from your awareness in your body, just reflecting to your life situation in a bigger way. So as I mentioned that your emotions are the guide, you might also ask, do you live a purposeful and joyful life? I like sometimes to say, joy is the perfume of the soul. If you feel joy in your heart, when you wake up in the morning and looking forward to your job and what you are doing and you are creative, you're aligned with your soul. Your unconsciousness says, yes, this is what I like to do. This is what I want to bring into the world. So you question, what are your passions and talents? Do you live them? What are you good at? Everyone has a unique purpose in life. And what might the world need that you are good at? And I like sometimes to say also that we are not just humans having a soul. I like to say we are soul having a human experience with a very unique purpose. There's nobody out there that is the same than you. Unfortunately, we are grown up in an environment that was not supporting us in our talents and gifts. And we came here, hardly someone did show us how to live a conscious life. We haven't had good models living from a place of our true, authentic self. We were more rewarded for what we did, for great best grades, being smart, being somewhere in the world. So this brings up the general question, and every culture in the philosophy has this question, really inquire, who are you really? Are you, and this goes back how I started in my presentation, do you live more your personality, what society, religion, culture, your childhood, parents imposed on you? Or do you live that you say, now, this is truly me? So I go to my next slide. So I have to say that realistically, there are other causes of illness and disease. So I brought this summary for you here. From my perspective, there are mainly 4 areas I look at with my clients. So the first aspect is what my presentation is about, lack of mental and spiritual health. Disease is based on our behaviors and choices, emotional reactions, beliefs, perceptions, and conditioning, influenced by education, society, culture, and religion. So the second point, which is very important nowadays, it's the diet. So there is a whole movement for healthy local diet, and I don't want to go into it today. I think that might be another topic, and there are many great experts, but just my basic tip is eat as natural as possible. Eat healthy, live food. Avoid all the processed foods, or if then just an exception, eat, whole grain foods. Avoid the bad carbs and low quality fats. Really healthy, organic, native oils. And not too, if you're not vegetarian, don't eat too much animal protein. There are many studies, why not? So, and the saying, let food be the medicine and medicine be the food, and we eat to live and not we live to eat, to have the healthy balance in our diet. And listen to your body again. Your body actually will tell you some foods, gives you a clear message, and listen to it. So the third aspect are our toxins. Also, I must say, toxins in our the news we let in. Think about it, if you listen many times a day to the news, might have a very toxic effect on your whole body. But here I'm talking about the environmental poisons and radiation, chemicals, and I don't have to talk more about it, what I'm meaning, lack of exercising. And then the last point is about the genes. About the genes, I want to share a little bit, because our science now improves that our genes are a field of possibilities. So what they are saying, even if you have a genetic predisposition to some disease, consider this. While one person with a genetic predisposition towards diabetes, for example, may never develop the condition due to the lifestyle, like a healthy diet. Another without such a genetic predisposition might get diabetes. And probably from your own experience in cold seasons, or if you're a teacher, I had so many teachers during my long career, that some kids become a cold, others not. Why do get the cold? What is the receptivity in the body? So I always would look at these 4 areas I pointed out. But in view of the genetic disposition, so if you are in a family with a specific disposition, you might not get the disease. It's a probability. Nowadays, we know that a gene is put on or off depending on our lifestyle. Even identical twins, they are very identical in childhood. As soon as they move in different cities, marry, have a different diet, different social influences, they develop very different diseases. So think about it. The genes are a field of possibilities, but they are not our destiny. So we have more influence on it. So here I put even some quotes from Dr. Bruce Lipton, Greg Braden. They're very strong these days promoting that genes do not control our biology, our beliefs control behavior, and like put a gene on or off. Greg Braden says beliefs and the feelings that we have about it, because a belief without a feeling is like hollow, but if you put your feelings in it, it's like you fuel those beliefs. So they are the language that communicate to the quantum field and influence our biology. And Dr. Judith Spencer, he was very sick himself, and so through his own journey, he came to new awareness about how genes or our beliefs influence us. So he says something as simple as moving into an elevated state of joy, love, or gratitude for 5 to 10 minutes a day can produce significant epigenetic changes in our health and bodies. So it's huge, and there is a question, how do I do that? How do I transform what I inherited? We all have a genetic inheritance, very clearly, but there is also the question in a bigger picture, what are the themes in the family system that want to be recognized, released, and invite for a greater healing? Some of you might know about the healing approach of family constellation work by Bert Hellinger. That's exactly the approach to tune into the family energy field, to see what are the wounds and what are the traumas that are in a family system that are calling for transformation. So we are not victims of that. And I go back to see it as an empowered moment in your life where you know you're invited to turn it around. You might be the one in your family system that can stop a pattern that might have gone through generations in your family system. So here my next slide is talking about the pain body, because when there were traumas in past generations or traumas in your life, let's just stay in this life. You had traumas in early childhood. And what happens is that everything that couldn't fully be felt and expressed in the moment when it happened stays in our energy field. And that is forming, and we call it the pain body. It's trapped energy that accumulate to physical imbalances. And I use very often this heavy backpack metaphor. It's like most people walk through life with a very heavy backpack. And everything in daily life is filtered through this past experience. They're not aware of it. It's sitting in our unconsciousness, and how to empty this backpack from past experiences. And that is the healing process. Even if you're not physically sick, everyone has this heavy backpack. But the invitation is how to empty it out, releasing the blocked emotions to be free, to be fully who you really are, in a way like a baby enters without any thought pattern, beliefs. It's free, meeting every moment fresh. Yeah, it's still, life will be your life. You still, if somebody asks you about, share me about your life, all the experiences will be still there. The traumas you can share, but they won't charge anymore. It's like, yeah, this is my life, but you're free of the blocked emotions. So this is another diagram. I call it the I am wound defense model. So I don't go too much in detail to describing it, but it shows in the center you see the I am, your true self, the soul, your present. So a child, going back to childhood, is always in the here and now, present. Only if it gets older, from 3, 4 years on, when the personality is more and more forming, the ego identity, the personality identity is more and more forming. And that's when we store more and more mentally stories out of a survival mechanism. We suppress emotions. We know the family system, what's liked, what's not liked, and we adjust to the system. Family system, society, religion, all that influences. So in the second circle, you see, I wrote feelings and emotions, also the wounds. So feelings are always in the now. I'm sad now, I'm angry now. But if we don't express them fully, then they get stored in this pain body I just shared. And that is what stays in our unconsciousness. So, and then when we suppress more, we have our beliefs about them. This is my parents are horrible, or all the beliefs we create. Then it becomes our story, and we believe that story. And more we act out of the defense mechanism. We protect ourselves unconsciously all the time. Sometimes we are conscious about it, but we don't understand really the mechanism. So we live our whole life more and more in this filtered reality through our thoughts, beliefs, and conditioning, and we forget who we really are. So here back to the topic of my presentation, disease along our life's journey. So I go to here the wise Lao Tzu, who was thousands of years already also pointing to that fact. He says, watch your thoughts, they become words. Watch your words, they become actions. Watch your actions, they become habits. Watch your habits, they become character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. So in a way, it might happen to you, live a life that's so far away of who you really are. So how to change that? The first thing is to become aware of it, to inquire your life, starting to question your life. Really, this core question: who am I? Like in the beginning, when I ask you, write down what makes out your personality, that you get a sense who you are not. You know, that might be another approach to say that you normally say, I'm not this, I'm not that. Oh, this was imposed by my parents, or this I took on through my religion, but I don't really connect with that. Yeah? So you just unlearn more and more your habits that don't serve you anymore. So you be mature and go beyond what you thought who you are. So, and it's like, it might be uncomfortable in the moment. It's like cutting away dead branches, and then new connections build up. So being aware, awareness is the greatest agent for change. Recognizing your thoughts, your moods. And when you go just to being aware. Reflect on that. Being aware. I am aware of being aware. So then you become a little bit in distance to what is happening, because awareness stays always the same. You might say, I'm aware of my feelings, my thoughts, but they always change. But awareness stays, because if you move your hands in front of you, your awareness stays. So when you connect, just saying in your daily life, sometimes I'm aware of what's going on in front of me, or I'm aware of my thoughts, I'm aware of my feelings. This is a very important step out of your conditioning. So connecting with your awareness is lifting the veil to who you truly are. So, and I like this Maslow diagram. You probably know about it. Evan Maslow's pyramid of needs shows how in our human evolution there are first our basic needs, and I always vote for and have a clear stand for it should be given around the world that basic needs are given. The basic needs of food, have shelter, having enough to eat. This is really the most important part for every human being. And then the second is to be safe. We need to be safe. So, and the next need is that we belong to somebody. This is just natural for everyone, having a shelter, enough to eat, feel safe, and belong to family, community, be part of it. So you could say this Maslow hierarchy of needs shows, so when that is given, then more and more our higher needs are calling for fulfillment. And that is the need for being loved. And the highest is to realize who we really are. Especially in Western world, I feel, it should be parallel, but more the basic needs are done. So we have the capacity to inquire more what is really the deeper meaning of life beyond the survival mechanism. In this way, I mentioned already, here's a little detail, the higher needs are love and belonging, being part, being seen, being heard, and self-actualization, living the full potential, our purpose, and living our mission why we came here for. So, and as I mentioned, our emotions are a guide. And maybe you look into it for yourself, this feeling connected in harmony with your true self. All these emotions are telling you, yes, I'm aligned. It's if you have joy, like I mentioned, you wake up in the morning, look forward to the day. It's more than just surviving, earning money, satisfying other people. So, but the more you go down this list, you're more bored, you're pessimistic. There is the tipping point. You're frustrated, irritated. So this whole right side, all the emotions invite you. Look what your life needs. How can you change? What can you change? You're more and more disconnected to who you really are and powerless. And here the health aspect comes in, where most people go to a doctor and say, fix me, give me the magic pill that I can function again. We are more than just to function in life. I really hope your heart can hear that and feel empowered, not frustrated when I say that, because sometimes it is frustrating, but don't get stuck there. It's like ask for help, speak to your counselor, your naturopath, ask your best friend, can you listen to me, that I can find the tipping point for myself to be empowered and change what needed to be changed. So my saying is, life is happening for you, not you. So really, life wants that you feel good. Life is happening through you. You're part of life. You're not disconnected. Yeah, think about it again. Every organ knows how to function. And you're part of this huge organism of humanity or the world or the universe. So life is happening as you. We contemplate on this a little bit. So as a preventative care, we come close to an end. So I empower you to use inquiry, reflect, to address the causes of your suffering, even if you are physically healthy. Look for emotional imbalances and use them as a guide for your life. You know, that you even say, thank you, body. You show me where something is wrong, something is off. You question who you are really. Yeah, and maybe you write diary every morning, 10 minutes, or have a meditation 10 minutes. Just give yourself some quiet time. You might go in nature, sit on a little creek or river, under a tree. Just be still and listen. The truth is within you. Yeah, so that pretty much, if you have one brief moment, for 2 or 3 minutes, just be still in a moment with me. And I invite you again to be aware of your body. And know that breathing is always a great bridge to arrive in the here and now and help you to go out of your mind into your heart energy. Because the heart is the organ, not the physical heart. It's more when you know more Asian philosophy about the chakras. We have energy centers, and the energy center around the heart connects you through the breathing and the energy with your unconsciousness. So if you just go for a moment mindfully to your breath, breathe, observe, being aware of the inhaling and the exhaling, and relax into it. So you bring your awareness in your chest area, heart area. You might just visualize gentle light flowing in and out through the breathing, and gradually let it expand and fill your entire body with this beautiful light, nourishing every cell with peace and loving kindness. And in the beginning, you might just think it, but more see if you can feel it, if you have a sense experience with it. And you can even give it a positive intention. You can say, I'm loved, or I'm appreciated, I belong, I'm peace, whatever you feel you need in that moment. And if you feel even ready, you might expand these feelings you experience to the world, maybe first to your loved ones, or those who need support, or to the whole world. It's up to you. So now I stop my screen sharing, and I'd like to thank you for joining me in this experience, and I hope it inspired you and empowered you for your daily life. Thank you, thank you, thank you.